Now, the only reasonable conclusion that I can come up with, finding this new study that was just published in in a journal, it's got to be one of the hoax studies. Have you heard about that? Here's a story in The Atlantic. Over the past year or so, 3 scholars, James Lindsay, Helen Pluckrose, and Peter Boghossian, wrote 20 fake papers using the newest, SJW jargon, right? All kinds of stuff, feminist crap, and arguing for ridiculous conclusions. And they try to get these papers published in high-profile journals in fields including gender studies, queer studies, and fat studies. Seriously, you got to read this stuff if you haven't heard of this. Their success rate was remarkable, by the way. 7 of these completely and totally made-up research papers were accepted into these prestigious journals. So I found this study in Yahoo, and believe it or not, you can see in the pictures in the video, a lot of news outlets are picking this up. And they're spreading the news like, oh my goodness, look at this. So what's it all about? The headline, study says flirting at work reduces stress. Enjoyment is key. Oh my God. Seriously, this has to be a joke. Okay, let's read through it a little bit. Stressed out at work? A little so-called harmless flirting with coworkers might actually help. That's according to a new study. Honest to God, link below. You can read the damn thing. In the journal Organizational Behavior and Human Decision Processes, in the study, researchers looked at non-harassing social sexual behavior in the workplace and found that mutual light flirting among coworkers that's not perceived as demeaning or humiliating lowered stress levels and acted as a sort of buffer against stress-related outcomes of job tension and insomnia. Well, of course, non-harassing and perception is all about what we're talking about, right? You could be harmlessly chit-chatting with your female coworker. She might take it the wrong way and go to HR, and your shit's boxed up and your badge is taken. This is the MeToo era, isn't it? So this has to be a joke. This has to be one of those hoax papers, because nobody in their right mind would come out with a study that recommends going against the MeToo movement, because that's what it's all about. Women didn't want to be bothered at work. They didn't want to, and understandably, I get it. And men, the smart ones, have said, you're right. I'm not even going to talk to you at work unless I have to, and only on a professional basis. If it's work-related, yes. Anything else? Fuck no. That's the environment you created, feminists. Now, not all women appreciate this. A lot of women like to do this kind of stuff. Not anymore. So this has to be a hoax. So the author continues, the types of flirtatious behaviors included things like coy glances, otherwise known as stare rape, and being complimented on physical appearance, otherwise known as sexual assault. Those are my words. Are you kidding me? An actual academic research paper that would encourage things like coy glances and compliments on physical appearance? Have the authors of this, have they ever been through an HR training course? Everything they say in here essentially is no, thou shalt not. And yet here it is in an academic paper. So according to one of the authors of the study, it is important to stress that the relationship of the people involved influences whether these behaviors are welcomed and enjoyed. Meaning, if you are an attractive guy, you might be able to get away with this, assuming she's attracted to you. If you're not an attractive guy to her, you're signing your own firing orders in these days. You can't even, you got to read this. You have to The researchers also noted that the flirting is not always about being romantically interested in a coworker either, but can happen in platonic, opposite-sex relationships, as well as between members of the same gender and of diverse sexual orientations. Do you see? This has got to be the hoax, because we're getting into the latest jargon, right? Diverse sexual orientations, members of the same gender. It's got to be fake. It has to be fake. Our research shows that when Being flirted with is enjoyed. Enjoyment is the key, and that's the key to perception, and it's all subjective. Ha. Do you see the problem here? It results in the accumulation of what we refer to in the article as psychosocial resources. It's got to be a hoax. I thought I'd bring it to your attention because initially I was kind of pissed off, and it's like, what? There's no way. There's no way this can be a real freaking study. And yet, it is published in a journal. Unbelievable. Links below. James Maxwell, thank you for listening.